How do, everyone? Welcome to the Potty Mouth Garden Club. Trust me, Steve has just sat down now. He's got me a bag of nerves and he knows it. Just sat down there now. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Potty Mouth Garden Club. As you know, first off, a bit of DIY there. Discord, please pop into there and show your appreciation and kind of join up. And I'll just show you, we mentioned this last week. This is kind of how, it's such a great little club if you're into kind of gardening, especially now when there's not that much to kind of actually garden, in the UK anyways, so it's kind of nice to go in there. We have the secrets behind the shed. This is what we've just been recording there now. And it was a nice little kind of chat we've had because we've just got, if we have a look in the show there, we've just got JB's back as well. Yes. JB, hey, JB, it's lovely to have you here, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's lovely to be back.
No, honestly, it is. I was just telling JB's got a nice fetching beard there now, man.
It's so big. It's so big.
Are we going like full kind of? Do you know what I mean? Like
no,
mountain.
It's like it just always. It's the same with my hair. It gets to around this length, and then I crop it all off, it back, and then it just goes and goes and goes like that.
Did you say, JB, that you cut your hair?
I don't.
I have been waiting for bloody ages for this one. Yeah, look at that, man. You little hipster.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. That is.
God, man. Look at how long that is, JB, man.
Yeah, that's my parents' old allotment as well, that one. That's the potatoes in the background.
Yeah, honestly, I've waited so long to have that photograph there has been kind of, and what Steve made a great point as well. You've got a mobile, but you cannot see. You've got a mobile phone, so like, you've just dished all the kind of new age hippie vibes with your mobile phone,
ruining it.
So how
did you show everyone? Did you show everyone yours, Tony?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I think it's it's nowhere near that. That's a true rocker, you know what I mean? I was saying, JB, as well that my wife used to cut my hair. She put me dreads in and used to cut it. And then every so often, like, she would cut, like, the sides, do you know what I mean? And then I would get, like, a little, and then she would, I've cut one off. Do you know what I mean? And it was, like, going more and more up there. That's when the end I thought, I'm going to have to just looking bloody ridiculous. Yeah, I'm going to get it cut off there. So, JB, it's lovely to have you back on, sir, there.
Thank you.
There's now someone, you know what I mean, is like kind of growing things that are just as much a disaster as what I am. So it's nice to have like again. Do you know what I mean? Audrey, how are you doing?
Yes.
We're calling you the ice queen there now, Audrey, because it's like,
and you should.
Exactly. Let's just see what we've got there. 4 degrees. That's all right. Well, it's a balmy 4 degrees.
Well, at least that's in the 40s today. But remember, we're at 2:00 in the afternoon.
I know. What's it been dropping down to then, Audrey, through the night?
Our lowest at night so far has been 18, which for you, I know is negative, 40. I don't know. It's very negative.
Man.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's just
that did come pretty quickly. So happy that I haven't seen a teen night yet for a while.
Have you done them pots yet, Audrey? You know the pots that go outside and you leave them?
I wait until January.
Right.
Because we get really deep freeze January and February. And March is a mixed bag. Mm-hmm. But normally they can do it well. If I get them out. See, right now it could be 60 on a day and all the things start blooming. And so I want to wait till they're really going into a deep freeze. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so January those will go out.
That's just it's horrific temperatures. Horrific.
Yes.
Stephen, how are you doing, sir? Always a pleasure. Never a chore. Are you good?
I'm good. Very good, thank you. Yeah, very happy.
You will come back on the show and get here just a few seconds earlier. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be 2 seconds. You know, you could push it to like 5 seconds. You know what I mean? That would be nice. 5 seconds. Plenty of time. You are, yes. So, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Potty Mouth. I was just saying to folks there, to Steve and JB and Audrey, that I've just listened myself getting back in about an hour ago, and it's kind of not stressful setting this up, but I like kind of calmness. And we've been over to Windermere and the kind of road works and traffic jams coming back, and I was thinking this isn't going to work. So anyway, if you want a question, that'd be fantastic, because I haven't got many topics. That would be good. If you want a question, put the letter a capital Q. I'm going to search there now, and then I'll be able to kind of see your question, and that will be fantastic. We'll read it out. We'll get Steve, JB, or Audrey to kind of read out your question as well. So I think that's it. We've got actually nearly the Potty Mouth Club. That'd be fantastic, and the what you call it, the podcast. JB has left us a review as well. If you mind leaving a review on Spotify, JB.
It was
very nice.
It's easy to find stuff on Spotify.
Yes. Thank you very much. And we will play the intro and get back. So yes, hello and welcome. I'll just kind of zoom myself in there now. So first question then, it's Rob's allotment channel, and that actually brings up, it ties in with mine. When is the sun going to shine again? Now, to be honest though, the BBC's been reporting that November's been like the kind of one of the hottest Novembers. I know it's a bit chilly today, but as it happens, and I've been kind of, like going around weeding my garden and things like that. Look at that. That's Cosmo, like seedlings coming again there now. They're just kind of, I'm going to leave them, to be quite honest. They're just kind of natural, kind of volunteer ones. But Steve, are you finding like November's like a mild month, or is it just...
Oh gosh, yeah. Definitely a mild month, yeah. I mean, I'm going to take them down this week, but I've still got tomatoes in the polytunnel.
You haven't, have you?
They're still growing, and the plants haven't died. Normally in October here, we'll get a frost start of the month, and it just kills off everything. I've still got a chilli growing with chilies ripening on it, and tomatoes growing. They'll all be coming out this next week, I think. Compost them.
Right. Wow, man! I didn't that's unreal tomato. Isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I didn't think you were going to say that. I was thinking, well, it's a bit, it's hitty missy there, but I have tomatoes, because normally, like, say, even like 1 degree, like below 1, -1, it just kind of thumps them, but obviously...
It normally stops them. If you get anywhere below 10 degrees, it normally stops tomatoes growing. But they've just carried on.
See, I
haven't had a harvest of them for about 10 days, I must admit, and the rest of them that's on there are going to have to go on a kitchen windowsill. But even so, just to have them at this time of the year is a novelty for me here.
So when you were talking about, are you having ripe tomatoes? Were you, like, I know you're saying 10 days ago, is that what it was? Like 10 days ago? Was like, wow.
About 10 days, yeah. Still ripening. Mad.
Straight away. Wow. You know what I mean? Man, that's fantastic. Audrey, I don't think it's not the same case for you over there in Detroit. I'm taking it. That's not, because you've just...
No, it's not even close.
No.
I was able to get the frozen carrots out of their frozen bag and the potatoes, but we covered them in black plastic for a few days, and then the temperature warmed up a bit, so we got it all out.
All right. I thought you were going to kind of say then the temperature went back down again and kind of...
No, we got it out, and they look great, so...
And everything looks... They're not kind of rotten or went soggy or mushy or anything like that? Or...
No.
Right.
Some of the potatoes did, but, the carrots look wonderful.
Audrey, have you ever had one of these kind of, or is it so predictable, your weather? Comes October, it's kind of brutal. Have you ever had like a kind of mild October, November in your history?
Don't they call that like a harvest summer or something? We have never had so long into November without a frost. Never.
Right.
At least I'm sure we have maybe on record, but not in my lifetime. So, I mean, we got up to like the 10th of November before we had a killer freeze. So that was remarkable to me. So I'll push the season next year.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And I think though that is why I got stuck with carrots freezing in the bags, because I just kept going, it's never going to freeze. It's wonderful. So, you want to just give them every day you can. So, yeah.
Yes. JB, how are you finding the kind of temperatures? What's it like down Goss? What have we got there? Have we 7 degrees? Balmy,
yeah,
7
degrees balmy, isn't it? Yeah, it's always relatively mild. We have quite late frosts because we're right on the south coast. And yeah, obviously, like Steve, I've still got stuff going in the greenhouse. Most of it's gone in the compost bin now, but I do still have some tomatoes, hopefully ripening. But I wouldn't say that that's uncommon for us this time of year. I think tomorrow is the first time it's forecast to go like properly below 0 and a bit. It's like -4 or something like that. We've had a couple of just really light frosts, but nothing that's really hammered anything. And yeah, it's been a really mild November, hasn't it?
Do you ever get Sorry, Jim. Go on, carry on.
No, go on.
Well, I was going to say, do you ever? My show. It's my show. Remember that. Don't you get punch above your weight, young lad. Do you ever get, JB, where it's so mild and your tomatoes are like kind of ticking on, but you ever I just want to get them out, but I feel guilty getting them out because they're still kind of growing.
Yeah. That's what so I've culled all my peppers back now. And there was definitely a part of me that's a little bit like, oh, they could survive. And I'm always tempted to overwinter stuff as well. But I just find that can be a bit more trouble than it's worth, sort of thing, for chilies anyway. And yeah, I love just getting in there this time of year and ripping stuff out and getting it in the compost, and you get that nice fresh start feeling. I really like, that's one of the silver linings for me about winter. Starting that proper greenhouse clear out and getting everything cleaned and tidied up is I always really look forward to it.
Have you done any overwintering, JB? Of your chilies? Are you not even doing any this year? Or
I've done a couple historically. The last 2 times I've tried, it's failed. And that's kind of one of the reasons I don't love doing it. Is it's just kind of unreliable. You never know what to expect. So I gear my growing year up for growing everything from seed, and maybe I try and overwinter 1 or 2 as a bonus. People have really mixed results. Some people love doing it. I find the harvests, they're just much less predictable. And they on a second or third year chili pepper, that is. I mean, they can kind of, sometimes you'll start to get chili pods in kind of April or May, which is like way earlier than you would normally predict. And just if you're doing it from seed, you always get like a nice graph. You can kind of plot, now it's growing its leaves, and then it's going to do its roots, and now we're going to get pods around this time of year. It's nice and predictable.
But is chili pods in April not a good thing though? Meaning it'll just keep on cropping if you can look after them.
Potentially, I think generally what it means is if you were to kind of like calculate the total weight of chili peppers that you were going to harvest across the course of the year, although you might have if you're using them fresh all the time, it's probably quite nice to have them coming like more often. But generally, I think you would get a much reduced crop. So you'd have sort of 40% less peppers overall over the course of the year, in my experience anyway.
That's the last thing. That's the last thing we want there. I was just going to, JB as well, I've just got a little picture there. Look at this. These are, I don't know what this, I think that's mucks, little spots. But they're the ones that I've been doing, and they've just kind of went into the red now. You know what I mean? There's about 4 plants there, so 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5. Let's see, 6 or 7 actual chilies have went red.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, when I go up maybe tomorrow, and I'm just gonna like bring them all down now, and that's good enough for me.
Very nice.
I got 4. I got them few over the line red. I would, if you hadn't said, mind you, I would have chucked them or brought them, cut them a month and a half ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you think of them as like a tropical, heat-loving plant, and sort of October feels like it all starts to close in, and it feels like when most people start getting rid of their peppers, but it's just getting towards the end of their season. You know,
It
although
begs the question, though, about sweet peppers. Can you not extend the season with sweet peppers as well? Because I ripped mine out so early that I'm probably missing 2 or 3 months of harvest if it's the same principle with sweet
yeah.
peppers.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. I think sweet peppers are definitely a bit more kind of fragile. They need a bit more TLC than chili peppers. You'll see whenever I do chili pepper updates. There was one in the video that I just released, my padron pepper. It is a chili pepper, but it's very mild and it behaves a bit more like a bell pepper. And all my other chilies look kind of okay, you know, end of season,
Yeah.
so looking a little bit sad. But this padron pepper just looks absolutely suicidal. You know, it looks like it's just had enough. But that is a milder pepper, and sure enough, it was full of red chilies.
So the hotter the pepper they get, the more of a snarling bulldog it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, we have, let me just pull this up there. We've got Francis is just saying, oh, it's lost Francis. There we go. Audrey, this is probably a good one for you. Can I use decorative cast iron gate panels for me climbing winter squashes, or will they get too hot in summer? Now, that's way beyond me there, Francis, but Audrey, with that facial expression, Audrey, I'm going to say maybe you're not too sure.
Well, I've never used an iron gate, but I do have metal trellises that they're on,
Uh-huh.
and they don't. I have not experienced any too hotness.
Mhm.
So, but I grow most of my squash up those. So, I would sure try it.
Yeah, well, if you've got like it's you're going back to kind of Steve's kind of thing with sowing seeds. Just try it. Just try it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I would sure try it because
Mhm.
again, mine are grown up metal and they're not, and they're dead hot, hot sun.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
And if you tie them into the trellis, right, they should actually stand off away from the trellis anyway. So there shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Mm-hmm. Now there'll be only that's right there. There'll be only like certain parts of it maybe kind of
Yeah, just
touching
a
it,
few
kind of.
little bits.
Yeah.
And certainly when I tie plants in, I always tie it in with a knot that will keep the plants away from the support so that they don't rub so much, keep them, they stand off away.
Good point. JB, any thoughts to add with that, or?
No, I think that all sounds sensible. I'm not very good at growing stuff up vertically. But yeah, I think when you've got like cast iron stuff, I don't think it gets like hot to the touch, does it? It probably absorbs a lot
Well, I
of it.
suppose mind you, maybe I don't know where Francis is, but like we have just had like the hottest heat wave like probably UK's had. So you're frying eggs on pavements at one point. So
Yeah.
So let's jump in then. Pam Clark is asking, with all the price hikes, I know, what extras or different things will be grown next year? Well, Pam, just for me, I'm trying to just kind of blink at the vision, not think about the price of seeds, the price of this, that, the other. I'll be just kind of doing what I do. Do you know what I mean? It's my hobby, and I'm kind of just going to have to take it on the chin, like some of the prices. Do you know what I mean? And talking about like some of the prices, I'm just going back to Windermere. We've had a weekend away. The prices of like meals now, you know what I mean? You're kind of $18.95 in a restaurant in Windermere for fish and chips. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, wow.
Well, Windermere is a bit of a tourist trap.
Yeah.
Windermere and Ambleside.
Yeah, don't get
Get
us
yourself
wrong.
up to Keswick or somewhere like that. It's much cheaper.
Oh, I know, totally that. But I just was like, wow. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, for 2 Cokes and a bottle of wine, I think it was like 40. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, ooh, you know what I mean? So, Pam's asking again, with all the price hikes and extras, the different things, what were the different things you'll be growing next year? Are you growing anything different there, Audrey?
I'm trying a few different varieties of things. I bought a lot of fruit plants last year, so maybe I missed the price hike on those. I'm kind of like you, Tony. This is what I love to do, and I don't have a whole lot of addictions. This is one of them, and so I just kind of suck it up.
Oh, I know it, and it's like brutal sometimes. You know what I mean? But I haven't seen that much of a kind of seed prices. I'm going off. You know, like
I
Premier
have not
Seeds,
either. I have not either.
Premier Seeds Direct, and I'm not sure what your Baker Creek over there, Audrey, but
No, but we have a local one here called M.I. Gardner, and he used to sell all his seeds for 99 cents.
mhm.
And maybe 2 years ago they went up to $2 a packet. And I thought, okay, that's still a really cheap seed for us. So um
I tell you
yeah,
what, Audrey. I tell you what is a deer seed, mind you, and like we've had like a joke on about it. You know the Chinese cabbage. They seem to be like an expensive, and you get about 5 or 10, whatever. You know what I mean? And everyone feels for us, so I've never really got one over the finishing line. So
no, I have not. But is that more than it used to be, or
no,
is that
no,
pretty
no, just expensive in general terms. Do you know what
well?
I mean?
Some seeds, I think some seeds are the rarer they are,
Mhm,
the more they're
mhm.
going to cost.
Yeah.
I find actually Baker Creek is maybe one of the more expensive seed companies, but I love their seeds. I've never had problems with their seeds.
Well,
So
Audrey, then let's just take it a little bit further, and we'll stick with Baker Creek. What limit for a packet of strawberry, packet of tomatoes? You know the orange accordion ones you're going to get.
right.
What's the limit? You know what price would you think? Do you know what I mean? $10 is a lot for a pack of seeds. Would you get? Would you?
Oh yeah. I think they sell those for $3.99 or $4.99.
But what
I'd
would
probably
you?
go up
What would
to
you
six, I'd
pay?
probably go up to $6 for that one.
You would go up to $6,
Yeah.
and that's
And
probably what.
if I got used to that, I might go up to 6.50. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
It's a tomato I can't buy, and I still get a lot of tomatoes for 6.50
mhm.
when you
Yeah.
think about it.
Would you ever,
Uh,
Audrey? Would you ever come to the time where, like, just say it went to $10, where right, I'm now collecting, because I've saved my seeds this year, some of them. Would you ever
yes,
think about
yeah,
that?
I would.
Hmm.
And I've said I have done that before. I guess I just kind of got lazy, and it's easier just to look through the pretty
But
catalogs and order them. So I think when I was younger and we were more counting every penny, I'm sure I started a lot of my own seeds.
hmm hmm
Yeah, but I used to pick them up off the shelf of like a Dollar Tree store, or I wasn't concerned with the heritage of the seed, like where it's come from. That's a little more interesting to me now. So
you can. I know normally because I get loads of messages saying, Tony, like this week's gardening news has got like free seeds on the cover, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I've grown seeds like that before. Steve, is there anything with the extra price hikes that you're kind of thinking maybe slow? I know you're going to probably slow down on the compost. You're not going to probably go as daft, and hopefully your compost is all going to be fantastic. You know what I mean? Like your homemade stuff. Is there anything else that you're thinking of that just put the foot on the brake, or you're just going to go and splash out?
You've got to keep things in proportion, really. If, let's say, tomato seeds went from £1 to £1.50, I'd still pay it and I wouldn't quibble and I wouldn't even think about it, because I also know that the tomatoes in the supermarket, they're also going up in price. So then it becomes an equation, and it kind of matches each other, because we've got this cost of living increase at the moment and food prices are rocketing. I still think the seeds are cheap, if you see what I mean, because of
Yeah.
what you get out from them in the end of the day.
What about then playing that back to you as well, then, Steve? What's your limit? For like, say, if you could get, just say if you could get some Brad's Atomic, like over here, what price limit would you say? Oh, I'm not paying that much.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know that I ever would. If I needed or wanted to see it, I think I would buy them. It's if they were so expensive that it was cheaper to buy the actual tomatoes from the superstore, then I would probably be starting to bulk at the price of them. Because as you pointed out yourself just a few minutes ago, this is our hobby. This is what we do. And we get to eat from it or pick the flowers and take them home and enjoy them. So we're getting a double benefit. We're not just going to watch football for 90 minutes, going home, forgetting all about it till the next time we go. We live and breathe this hobby all the time. So we get so much from it. So paying silly money for seeds, I don't think I'd balk at that.
Mm-hmm. It would be upsetting if they went that expensive.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, kind of in the real world, and you know what I mean, would still, like you say, it's not going to spoil my hobby that much. JB, money's tight for youngins with the mortgages and and all that kind of stuff. Are you got a slightly different outlook?
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting because of the cost of living rise. I mean, have you guys seen seed prices increasing significantly? For me, I think of £1 to £1.50 is generally what I pay for a pack of seeds.
Oh, you don't pay any more than that.
for the general stuff, and just having a quick look. I mean, you can still get most stuff for about £1, I think. From the online retailers. Obviously, it's depends on how many seeds you get for that, but I think with the cost of just, I mean, for us, it's the general weekly shop is just like slowly going up. Every time you go, it's like more and more expensive.
Oh,
and so, if anything, it gives me more of an incentive to kind of put that money into seeds and try and grow as much as we possibly can at the allotment. And I think seeds give you quite a good return on your investment, unless you can't grow anything like me.
Well, JB, I wanted to show you this while you're here as well. This is one of my cabbages. So all that kind of Mickey take that I've done about you with kind of growing cabbages, that's just, you know what I mean? That is, I'll show it again if folks didn't miss. What I'm showing, this is for the podcast, there is just green stalks. There is nothing left. Do you know what I mean? And like you say, you kind of mother them from, I think I was kind of probably, I don't know, maybe early August sowing them, like kind of, these are going to be my winter ones. I'm going to have, planning ahead. Steve's, advice, plan ahead. And then one day you come back and you think, you mother chucker.
What's the bloody point?
What's it? Exactly. I tell you, I might as well, while I'm on there, I think, Steve, we were talking about, was it last week where we were talking about, Audrey, like rotten onions? Didn't want me one of the last final ones of this crop, because I use mine all the time, has that. Look at that.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I was like, you are kidding me. And it looked perfect. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it's hard and everything like that. And I cut into it and I thought, Anybody this year, Audrey, Steve, JB, cut into an onion and it's been like that?
Yeah.
Thank you, JB. I can always rely on JB.
yeah. For us, it's the white rot, and it's easy to miss one. Sometimes they look okay. So I do make a habit of quite regularly going through the whole onion stock and just making sure that they're okay.
Have you still?
There's always one or two.
JB, have you still got like a good batch of onions left, or?
Yeah, we've still got quite a few. We've not been using them that much, but yeah, they're still okay. The potatoes aren't so great now. They're not storing for too long.
Well, it's funny. Mine, I was just going off I haven't even touched mine yet. I've got about 12 bins, like buckets in the garden. I should have a look, to be honest, to see what, if anything's going there. Garden in the Woods is asking. This is not my forte at all. Steve, it might be yours. Are there any dahlias that you don't have to dig up during the winter? Steve, is that something you might know about, dahlias, or?
Yeah, I grow dahlias. I've got a load that I've still got to dig up, and I'm really, really late with it. But I'm not too bothered, because all of the dahlias I've got, apart from 2 or 3 this year, they're all the really cheap ones, the ones you get like 3 or 4 for £2 or something. But yeah, if you've got raised beds filled with compost, and you leave your dahlias in, just mulch over them. And as long as the raised beds so that they drain well in the winter, they should survive with a good mulch over the top. So straw or compost. And that's where I'm aiming to be next year. When these dahlias do come out, I'm putting new surrounds on them, filling them up with compost. And then the dahlias that go in next year, I'm buying special ones, species ones, and they'll stay in forever.
I guess then, because I haven't grown dahlias, the frost must just kill them. Is that right?
They can do it. What plants really hate is they don't like cold, they don't like wet, and they especially don't like both together. So if you're in cold, wet soil, dahlias will just rot. But you can get away with it if they're in a good draining soil, and then the mulched on top, and that keeps them reasonably safe and secure, and you can get them through the winter. Whether that'll work for me here in Cumbria remains to be seen, but we'll find out in about 2 years' time.
I always remember that video, maybe last year, maybe a bit longer now, where you got some dahlias through the post, like an online retailer through the post, and they were, mind you, they were shocking looking. Did anything ever come of them, Steve? Did you get?
They sent another batch out.
I know that's right, either, because they were just as bad, weren't they?
They were just as bad. I complained again. They sent another batch out. They were as bad again, and then they sent a fourth batch to me. And by now, they'd run out of the varieties that I'd ordered. So they were sending replacement varieties that weren't even the same blinking colour. So I complained again. I said, look, I ordered all this as a colour thing that I configured this bed to look really nice with the right colours. And now you've messed all that up. So they just refunded me, and that was that. All done with. So no dahlias, got me money back, wasted a load of compost and time.
Oh, so you didn't plant the dahlias, did you not?
No, they didn't. Well, I tried to. I think one or two came up.
Right.
But they were shocking. They were really shocking.
What a shame, to be honest. It would have been nice if they'd all come up fantastic, a whole swathe of colour.
Well, it's one of my beefs I've got with online companies is they'll just send you whatever they're supplied or whatever they've got. 9 times out of 10, you're ordering stuff that they don't even have yet. Mm-hmm. And they're waiting for stocks to come in. Then they'll send it to you. You realise it's rubbish. And 9 out of 10 gardeners won't particularly know that they're not fantastic or they're not going to grow. They'll see them and say they look poor, but they'll plant them, try and grow them. They'll get a bit of green, then they'll die off and they'll think, I'm just a poo gardener. But at the end of the day, it's because you've been supplied rubbish. And there are so many online retailers doing that. It's shocking.
Well, I know totally. And it's, but now we've got the power, Stephen. We've got an audience that to let people know, to be honest. And I think
that's why I always make a video about it. And I do make that, and then I get some response about it.
Right, let me just see one little more question there. I've got David Bruff is asking, after filling a compost bin, plastic type, would you top it up with cardboard to let it mature over winter? Well, I'll be mixing, and we'll go to Steve there because he's kind of compost king, but I would just be mixing it throughout anyways. And if it's the plastic ones that I'm thinking possibly, David, where it's like square, they're probably about 3.5 foot tall by, them kind of square ones. I've had great success, honestly, this year when I've just kind of mixed a little bit of cardboard in. I'm going all cardboard now. So, but if it's got a lid and I get cardboard in, I'm guessing, Steve, that's the thing. Just not as much cardboard as you can, but go all in on cardboard.
Yeah, definitely. Put layers in. You want layers of greens and browns in your compost bin. And then on the top of my hot bin, the one I've got in the polytunnel at the minute, that is still at 60 degrees in the polytunnel at the minute. And that at the very top, it's got 4 or 5 layers of cardboard, then a couple of layers of polystyrene on top, and that keeps all the heat in, or much of it. And where it's actually where the steam's coming out of the edges, I'll leave my gloves on top of that overnight. So when I start in the morning, they're nice and warm. I'm actually thinking I might leave my wellies on there overnight, warm wellies in the morning.
That's fab. Anybody else got anything to add to that question of David's about compost? JB, what did you, am I right in thinking you kind of revamped a compost bin? Did you revamp a compost bin or?
I wish. It's on my to-do list.
Right.
Not yet. No. So, Simplify Gardening, Tony, who I think is in the chat, he spoke about lining his compost bays. His look really smart, and he's lined them with, I think it's called Proplex. It's the stuff that builders or tradesmen use to kind of cover worktops or, wood things that you're a bit precious about. So it's just a kind of thin twin wall plastic, basically. I'm hoping to line mine partly for just to make them look a bit nicer, last a bit longer, so they're not, got soaking wet compost material pushing up against the wood. They're just old pallets. And as well, if I can get like a lid on top, I can properly control the moisture. And as well, it will keep heat in. It will insulate it a little bit, not as much as a proper hot composter, but it should help a little bit. That's still on the to-do list. So hopefully
I wonder how much that stuff is, JB. Do you know what I mean?
It's really cheap.
£5 a sheet.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a couple of quid. I've got some in the shed.
Sheet, 8x4 sheets, about a fiver from Wix.
Is it easy to cut, is it?
Yeah, it's only very thin. It's probably 2 or 3 mil thick, I think. Just use a Stanley knife.
I could use a circular saw, couldn't I?
Oh, God. You'd be giving me heart palpitations. Now I'm going to cover my polystyrene bin in the main tunnel. If the idea of starting that was I eventually want it outside, but once polystyrene gets wet, it starts to fall apart. So what I've got to do outside is cover it. So I'm going to cover it with some of that Proplex and then set up properly with it outside.
I wonder what they actually do. You know, Steve, your fancy Lamborghini composter. I wonder what goes into it because it's outdoors and it's getting all weather thrown at it.
Yeah.
Where you're saying yours, the wet's starting to kind of not degrade it, but it will start to degrade if it gets wet. I wonder what the actual secrets, you know what I mean, to kind of hold it all together and keep it all kind of.
Somebody might know.
I know.
No, I know. Well, it's the stuff that the stuff they make bumpers with on cars.
All right.
That's what the polystyrene or the construction of it. That's what it's mixed with. That's why it's so strong and lasts for years. They've got bins made from that stuff going back 15 years, I think, and they don't see any reason why it wouldn't go on any longer. Carry on after that. I mean.
It's funny, because when you kind of first mentioned it, I was like, oh, that's a little bit kind of cheeky in price, especially like the extra large one. But like you say, my plastic ones are 3 or 4 year old. The lids have come off. The slidey front doors have snapped. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're kind of maybe another year, 2 years, and they'll be gone anyways. Do you know what I mean? So you only get what you pay for.
Well, that's it. Over a period of time, it will pay back, and I can see that from the compost that it should make me over the next year. It's going to actually save me money from not having to buy that compost to use. I only plan to ever use it to mulch beds with, but even so, to mulch beds with compost, a smallish bed, and you're using 2 or 3 bags of compost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you need, Steve, while we're on with the compost, again, we're going down the compost route there, would you ideally, I know you've built one, but do you need 2? I know that's great, because when you're talking there, like a way lot of money, but ideally you need 2, surely. One's going, one's filling, like one, because eventually you're going to have to stop one. Is that why you built the second one, or?
No, I built the second one because I'm greedy, really. I just wanted to make more. The thing is with the second one, the white one and the one I've made myself, is mostly, it's all really bad waste in there. It's all weeds that have gone in there. So I won't put things like nettle roots or thistle roots in there, but any of the other sorts of annual weeds and rubbish off the plot, it's all gone in there. Mm-hmm. And it's cooking away like a good one. So I'm really happy. Really happy. I'll be starting a 3rd compost heap in the end of January as well. Got another idea coming up, another test.
Mine, it's lovely. Cause I've been putting my new compost or the compost that I've made for this this season now on my beds, and it's lovely, mind you, when you dig in. And at the moment, there's so much of it. Do you know what I mean? I know eventually I'm going to run out of that bed, but it's just rich and crumbly, and you're thinking, God,
and it smells wonderful as well.
It's just nailed it. So yes. Right, let me just see. Oh, growing potty. Actually, growing potty. Let me just screen share. This is going to be, if you can, pop over and sign, subscribe to, I think it's Claire. I think I'm right in thinking there.
Correct.
Yes, just to be nice there. But I've got a question from Growing Potty as well. Let me just get back to myself there. Has anyone, and I've seen the pictures of this. Has anyone had trouble with canker on parsnips this year? Is it because it went so wet? Now, Claire, I haven't dug mine up yet. I'm waiting for a frost. Now, I don't know if this is just kind of old wives' tale where it makes it sweeter or not, but I've got parsnips and they're a nice kind of size. I know all that. I don't know exactly what they're like underneath, but I know that they're there. But I've been still holding off. Have you anyone heard of canker coming in late? Because I've seen Claire's photograph. Her hands are like stained to bits with it, you know what I mean? Kind of,
Right.
but still got a crop from them. But have you had any trouble,
Definitely.
Steve?
I haven't dug any of mine up, to be honest, yet. I've been cutting down the foliage ready for winter, and also the foliage allows the frost to get at the roots as well. So if you cut the foliage away, the frost can get at them and sweeten them up. They've had one frost since I've done that. So yeah, in a couple of weeks I'll start harvesting them.
JB,
I'll cut all the foliage off just so I can mulch them if we get a really prolonged freezing spell.
all right,
Makes it easier to get them up if the ground's not frozen around them.
right. Also, you've cut the tops off already, have you?
Yes, yeah.
Right. Oh, mine. Is this one of Grandad's tips? Is it or?
No, it's just what I do.
Right. Bloody hell. JB, have you got parsnips in or not, or have you tried to grow them?
No, I haven't yet, and it's because they seem like quite a space inefficient crop. You know, the foliage gets really big, doesn't it? What do you like?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Are they worth growing, or do you agree that they take up quite a lot of space?
JB, the flavour doesn't matter about the space. The flavour. Your garden's big enough. I know it is. You've got these tiny little beds with all this grass around the edges. Get rid of your paths and get it. But yes, I know that what you're saying. But I've got mine in probably the littlest beds, and I've got about maybe 18 plants, maybe more, to be honest. And they seem to be fine, and they seem to be kind of, I cannot see anything because I look a right idiot if I kind of dig them up and they're only like little like that. So I'm just hedging my bets that
like your carrots.
Yeah. So, is it something, JB, that you would think of growing parsnips?
I bought seeds last year, and I was planning out the beds, and I went, you know what? I'm going to grow other stuff instead. I can't remember what now, but I'll do it this year. All right, I'll do it this year. I did carrots for you this year, and next year I'll do parsnip.
What was your carrots like this year? Because I can't remember.
Terrible. Terrible, awful, tiny. They were terrible. I did get a crop. Yeah, I did get a crop in the end. I think I sent you a picture on WhatsApp. But they went in March. And I didn't get any carrots until September.
Wow,
that's not right. I don't know. I don't think they get enough light where I sowed them. That's my excuse.
Mind you were very dry this year, JB, as well, so they're not going to do very well in that. So
yeah, that's true.
I think last year I sowed mine a little bit too early. One batch, I think, like say March, sometime in March, and they just didn't germinate, and then they went a bit scatty and a later sowings kind of took over. So, but this year, JB, I used that, and I've ordered some more again. I've ordered. There was the tape,
seed tape,
the seed tape. Honestly, I got an email from Premier Seeds Direct having a special on. There was about 8, I think, different varieties of vegetables that they do with the seed tape, and I thought, you know what, I'm just cutting out cutting out all this kind of what he does, the old fella, this. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just cutting all that nonsense out and just kind of getting some
nonsense.
And actually, the mine this year came up great. Do you know what I mean? It's lovely, to be honest. So, but no one's heard of any canker because of the wet weather. Is that? No. Audrey,
I don't know it.
Parsnips, Audrey, is that something you grow? Or?
Well, I have not. But I think I might try some next year. And here's why. I've watched some. I generally watch UK gardeners most of the time. And I've seen some where they drill holes and fill it with sand. And then that's what they grow the parsnips in. And that's just a whole lot. I just want to plant them and let them grow. I mean, I grow in really nice raised beds. So I don't think it should be a problem. So I'm going to try them next year because we love parsnips here. But it just looked like way too much effort. And then, Tony, I saw you just chuck them in the ground.
Yes,
So,
I was funny, Audrey. I was going to say that I've seen that, and I thought that would actually make a nice video doing it, and I would work it out. But then it's exactly what you say. I was like, oh, I couldn't be her. I couldn't be bothered.
no.
Do you know what I mean?
And I don't mind doing special prep for certain things,
Mhm,
but that just looked insane to me.
mhm.
'Cause
I
can
think
buy
it's kind of. I think
organic
it's stemmed.
parsnips.
Sorry, Audrey, I'm jumping over you
I
there.
was gonna say, I can buy organic parsnips for a reasonable amount of money. So that just seemed like crazy work to get that.
I think it's
grown.
probably stemmed from like show carrots over here in the UK.
Mm.
You know, you got your annual kind of vegetable and flower shows, and they do, mind you, they'll come out pristine, perfect. Do you know what I mean? But like you say, you've got to be dedicated and not for just
Oh,
an average crop of carrots. You know what I mean?
right. So that's why I've kind of shied away from parsnips.
Hmm.
I
But I've
thought,
just
no,
put mine all the time, just in the ground. Do you know what I mean? In a raised
I'm-
bed. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, I'm with you, JB. I will grow some next year. Now, I have heard you should buy your seed every year.
Mm.
Like, this is one of those seeds that doesn't do well going year to year. So I'm going to wait until the next calendar year and buy some parsnip seeds.
right.
Sounds like a plan. Parsnip Club.
Yes, parsnip. Audrey,
Maybe
have
we can have a parsnip contest.
you?
Yes.
Hey, now there we go.
Yes.
There we go. Audrey, have
I'll
you
have to look them up actually because I don't really know what causes canker on parsnips. I must admit, so I'll have to go and look that up. I think I've no idea.
what was going to ask? Audrey, I was going to ask you something there, but I was so rudely interrupted. I just mind went.
I know your show.
Audrey, have you grown parsnips before? That's what I was going to ask you. Have you actually physically grown parsnips before? Have you had a parsnip?
I love parsnips.
Right, there we go.
So I'm an avid purchaser of parsnips.
Right.
I am not sure that I've grown them before just because of all the hoo-ha I've seen going on how to, really, I'm never going to drill out holes and put tubes down and fill it with sand. And so I've just avoided them.
Actually, though, Audrey, what you could do is what we should do is put one down a tube, drill a hole, put one in, and then the rest and just see which, if you get just as good from your bed, you kind of.
Well, I will if you will.
It's like skinny dipping. I'll go if you go. What was that going to? Oh, going back to me holidays there. There's loads of like Christmas over in Windermere now. Christmas sandwiches. You get like a Christmas meal in a sandwich. And my friend Darren had one this today, and it was like turkey, like a big burger of like stuffing, and then chopped up finely, garnished like fried Brussels sprouts with like a great. She's like looking. I was like, oh, so. Just I haven't had my tea. Can you see? I'm just talking about kind of my tea there. Right. I tell you what. We're coming into December there now, and I was gonna just get your kind of thoughts on because I think it's the 21st of December, the longest day, and for me that is always like once I get, and it's even for just like mental state as well. Once I get past the 21st of December, then I'm kind of. It's downhill, and you know what I mean. Kind of things are kind of starting, you know what I mean. And I think me and Steve are going to do like a Boxing Day sewing stuff or talking about sewing stuff. But anybody got any thoughts on like, is it for you the same? Like, get over the 21st of December, and the days are getting, and every minute I look, for the first week or two, little lost it. It's getting a little bit longer. Days are getting a bit longer. JB, you're nodding there. Is that exactly what?
Yeah. I'm nodding furiously because this year especially just, I've had a lot going on and the darkness is like oppressive at the moment. We've still got a few weeks to go, but I'm just really, really looking forward to this stuff. the days getting longer, because you have to change your whole, if you're working full time, you have to change, you have to like restructure everything to be able to get to the plot.
Yes,
Because it's
yeah.
dark at 4 o'clock, like it's dark
Yeah.
at 3:30 sometimes. So yeah, it's just really difficult, and I can't
Well,
wait.
it's
I can't
funny,
wait
like
until it starts
Sophie
getting longer.
mentioned that as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of, it's stopped. The evening gardening stopped.
Yeah.
And maybe for the ones that have crossed the finishing line, where you know what I mean, we can still kind of get a few hours in the morning there, early morning. But it's for me that kind of hitting that 21st just feels like right. We're over the hump. It's all going. Do you know what I mean? Or is that something similar in frozen Detroit?
Well, yeah, I mean, days get longer, but for me, that's almost always felt like the beginning of the gardening season, like the next season has started.
Mm-hmm.
Even though our garlic went in October, November, whenever it did, but this really feels like the beginning to me. So yeah, and it's hopeful. It's like, yes, there will be light again. There will be sun again. The grass will be green again. Things will grow outside again. Yeah. No, I find it like as good as Christmas Day to me.
Is it as good as well, though, or for you kind of I'm not saying like you kind of we suffer from like say sad, that seasonal, but is it good for your mental state to kind of cross that line? Is that like some sort of imaginary
Absolutely,
line?
because I can look forward to every night starting less early. Like, okay, we're going to get 3 more minutes today than we had yesterday, or 6 more minutes. I forget what it is, but yes. Yeah,
Oh
because
no,
to me, it's the hope that we're going to have the longest day again soon.
I think it must be the same for all gardeners. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
We all
yeah.
kind of, can I see Steve? Steve, is that? I guess it's the same for you, is it? I mean, I know we're kind of cheated a little bit because especially me now, it's all new for us, like going, retirement. But so I guess someone who's been there, at the retirement party for a number of years. Do you know? Is it still?
Yeah, well, it's the same for me. I mean, I monitor the months as they go by, and I'm counting my blessings each month because I know that a day in February is going to be an hour and a half longer than a day in January. So I can measure by what I sow that month due to the available light as well.
Mhm.
So it's always good to monitor those sort of things and keep abreast and plan your sowing and your growing around it.
But does it start? Does it start on that 21st? Because for me, it's like it's almost like a
Oh, yeah.
physical doorway walking
Yeah.
through. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, every day now we're losing a minute or two's daylight every day at the moment, and then in a couple of weeks' time we're getting it back, and that's brilliant.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's all milestones all along the way, and that's the first one, and then for me, as you know, it's Boxing Day with sowing, and then getting into January, you get your greenhouse sorted, and you're starting to sow on heat again. Then the months are getting longer. And then we get the hour back when we go into British summertime. It's all plus, 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 plus all the way.
Well, that's actually, like one of the main things I wanted to kind of carry on doing this. I didn't want to be like Gardener's World and just stop the potty show, you know what I mean, end of September, and then bring it back kind of end of March kind of thing, just to kind of keep we're all, it's not long. You know what I mean? If we just stick together, it's not long. It's not long. You know what I mean?
Well, think about how fast our growing season goes.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
we just planted, and here we are packing up for winter. So I feel like these few months are going to go like what happened to these last few months.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, I love that we're just keep on plugging on with this.
No,
Because
exactly.
you have to. Yeah, you have to.
We have now. This is a nice question. Alan Sandom is asking. Let me just get Alan. If I can just not click in there. Come on. Oh, yeah, Alan. I'm fighting it with you, lad. There we go. Is it normal for broccoli to sprout from the roots after cutting the heads off for the kitchen? JB, have you got any thoughts on that? Would that happen to you, sir?
I'm trying to think does that mean. Do they mean that there are new shoots coming out of the ground from the roots?
Well, I think it's like you chop the head off.
Cut?
I think chop the head off, like the leaves.
Yeah.
Yes, you do get your kind of always like leave your plant in the ground, You know what I mean? Because you're going to get like mini florets almost. You know what I mean? That's my case. You know what I mean? I think that's what.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah,
And that is normal, isn't it? With broccoli and most of your brassicas, if you cut them, they will continue to kind of reshoot. I've never grown Calabrese, but doesn't it doesn't Calabrese kind of, if when you do take that main head, turn into a little bit more like sprouting broccoli?
Yes.
Where you get multiple smaller heads that you can then take. So yeah, I think that is normal, isn't it?
So saying that then, JB, will we be growing Calabrese next year if you get away some of your paths?
No, I hate it.
Oh, you forgot. Yes, that's
remember,
right.
Do you remember broccoli, Calabrese and cauliflower? Yeah,
it's been that long since you've been on. I forgot all of that.
Yeah.
You're the one person I shouldn't have went to with that question.
Yeah, I love the sprouting broccoli, but yeah, not the big heads.
Yes. Steve, any thoughts for Alan? Anything he can do, or
I've never really noticed them sprouting from the bottom of the plants, but that could be just because it's been so mild recently that it could be doing that as part of that. I don't know. But normally when you take a head of Calabrese off and you're left with the stem, you just split it with a knife, you cut it into quarters, that peels apart, and then each one will grow another tiny head like a sprouting broccoli. That's normal. I can't say that I've ever noticed them at the base, to be honest.
It's probably, I think Alan's probably meaning the way we normally do it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think.
But that has been so mild, and plants have been growing so wacky this year. It's incredible. My sprouts got hammered by caterpillars late on, and by all reason they should be in the compost heap, but they're there growing and they got sprouts on, which is just blown me away. They were hammered, left them for dead.
I have just noticed the time. We are at the top of the hour. Unfortunately, this fantastic show is coming to a close. So it is the tips of the week. Now let me go straight to Audrey. Bang.
Okay.
Yes, there we go. Tip of the week, Audrey.
Okay, my tip of the week is about the mental health of the garden. Because even if we still can grow things, and I know a lot of you can, we garden differently even in these other months, right? It's not like the lush, sunny place that it was in the summer. But I still think we need to protect what mental health we get from the garden. And I get a lot of mental health from the garden. Like it really kind of keeps me sane. So I think we need to think about what we are going to do since we don't have this lush, fabulous garden to go into and get lost in for hours. What are we going to do this winter to protect our mental health? So I'm just going to suggest look at those pictures that you've taken of your garden over the summer. Look at garden videos from May, June, and July. Look at garden catalogs and dream about what your garden could be. Take long walks. Even if it's gray outside, take a walk, be outside, look at nature. We all need that. And even if we don't know that the garden gives us great mental health, it really does because we're out in nature and we're connecting with the planet. So I say that, and get yourself a sad light if you need one. I have one. I love it because we're gray from sometime in November till about March. So I need some, help yourself, even though what might have been your sanctuary is not your sanctuary right now.
Or did you find the actual... I know. There we go. Actually, why don't you have both, Audrey? Have both.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow, my head's going to get twice as big.
There you go. Audrey, do you find that light works?
Here's the thing. I find it's like an argument from the negative. Like, I don't know if it does, but once I got it, I was like, well, I'm not going to not have it. Because at least that's providing me with some artificial sunlight. And Because if I look outside, it's just gray and blah. And I mean, it just affects your mental spirit. So at least I can have this bright light that reminds me that, yeah, there is sun and it will come back out.
Yes.
And I try to do things all the time just to keep my head together during this really dark season that I think most of us go through.
Oh, I know. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny when you're
It
saying that,
really is.
Audrey, as well. Even doing a video out, getting outside and appreciating it, but come back and like
Yeah.
realizing I've got to like bump up the color, the brightness, because the video is so dark and
Right.
dismal looking. You know what I mean? It's kind of
So maybe I should put out that tomato picking video now.
yes.
Right? Maybe it's better timing than I thought. So yeah.
Stephen,
Okay.
have you got a tip of the week, sir?
Well, it kind of verges onto what Audrey was just saying about looking back on pictures of your garden. Now is a good time to be thinking about what worked and what didn't work for you this summer, this growing season. And if you can, try to work out why. And then it'll just help with your planning for next year. Planning is such a big subject, but looking back on what you've done and learning from it is more important than what you're going to do next year. So just have a little look back while it's still fresh in your mind and see what changes you can make to make things a little bit better for next year.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there's some lovely kind of tips there. I just hope JB is going to, not let the side down.
Mine is a really simple one, and once again, it kind of ties in with what Audrey is saying. And it's this is a really stupid tip, but it's something that I've started doing recently, which 99% of people watching will already do. But it's hot drinks. Like, I finally bought a thermos. I didn't own a thermos. I finally bought a thermos and actually started making myself a flask of tea to take to the allotment for whenever it was chilly and I was going to be working. And I cannot believe what a massive difference it has made.
Yes.
It's such a small thing, but it just gives you this moment where you get to just rest and enjoy your cup of tea at the pot. It sounds ridiculous when I say it, but when you're at the plot, a lot of the time it's kind of go. You're always thinking about the next job, the next thing. I am anyway. I very rarely stop and actually get to take a breath. And this time of year, being able to stop with your flask is just like amazing. It's really, really good. And today what I did, because I've not been having a good time recently, I've not been to the plot for like weeks really, and I just went down, I took a flask and I just sat on the plot, enjoyed my tea, kind of looked around and just took a moment, tried not to get overwhelmed thinking about all this stuff that needed to be done, and just tried to ground myself and enjoy it a bit. So I think that's a great thing that you can do over winter.
Yes,
and if you're in a pretty good place, you will find things to do as well, and you will probably have a very good time doing it.
See, that's what I know. We're kind of been talking about these tips, but it's such a simple one, JB, and I don't do it, but I know exactly what you mean there, and it's almost made us now think, because I'm about 500 yards from the allotment, so I kind of. But just the taste of tea is amazing, anyways. I like coffee, but I love tea as well. But to sit there and just go, enjoy the moment of drinking the tea. It's almost
You've got to. You've got to.
Yeah.
I take a flask of coffee with me every day, and most days I bring half of it back and drink it when I'm at home. But just to take 5 minutes out, sit down, and you can just look around your garden rather than running from this bed to that bed or from here to the compost heap. You're actually just sitting down because you've got a drink in your hand. You just sat down and looking. And that is so important to do. JB's bang on with that tip. Bang on.
Oh, hey, bloody hell. I'm giving it to everybody here. You know what I mean? Bloody hell. You have to as well. Well, listen, honestly, I've really enjoyed this show. Man, have I enjoyed this show. It's like, it's sitting down with the cup of tea. This is exactly what this is for me. Do you know what I mean? This is my cup of tea now, talking, you know what I mean? And like, although there's not much garden, at least we're kind of keeping this garden kind of feeling going. Do you know what I mean? It's just fantastic. Stephen, JB, Audrey, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Everybody who's watching and who will watch, thank you. We will see you next week.
Have a
Take
great
good-
week, everyone.
Take good care.
Cheers, everyone. Look after yourselves.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.